Does the shape of the glass that you use really matter? What does this glass offer your whiskey experience that this glass does not? And, well, vice versa. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marcel, and today we are going to be talking about how the shape of the glass and what glass that you choose affects your whiskey experience. So, as usual, grab a glass, pull up a chair, and let's talk about a whiskey thing. What I have in front of me are two different glasses. There are two different whiskey glasses. This one is a rocks glass. A rocks glass is good for just a neat pour on the rocks, maybe have a Ryan Coke. That's what this is good for. It's not for exploring aromas, it's not for exploring flavors, it's not for anything like that. It is just for either relaxing over the weekend or you had a hard day at work and you just want to sit down, watch some hockey, and enjoy your whiskey however you like to enjoy your whiskey. If you are looking for more of a sensory and exploratory experience, then you would go for a Glencairn. The shape of the Glencairn concentrates the aromas, concentrates the volatile chemical compounds in the glass, and then funnels them out the top and funnels them out to up to your nose. These are very popular in for whiskey enthusiasts, whiskey aficionados, no, just whiskey enthusiasts. You will find them at a lot of distilleries, whiskey bars, places that go more for the experience, more in depth. You can really dive in and actually be able to find what aromas and flavors are in your whiskey with a Glencairn over a rocks glass. Okay, and now you in your rocks glass, you don't smell anything. It's just pretty much ethanol. All you smell is the alcohol itself. Might be a little tiny hint of vanilla, maybe a little tiny hint of caramel, but you're not really getting anything. You're not getting any of the character of the whiskey. Even if you swirl it around and try and agitate things, or you add water, you do any of the other things to try to unlock or open up the whiskey, it's not going to work, because this is open. All of the flavors, all of the aromas, all of the volatile compounds are just going to be, they just escape. Whereas you go into the Glencairn, and yes, the burn is concentrated a bit more. There is more of the ethanol, but you do get more of the characters of the whiskey. Then you smell more of the apples or overripe pears, oak, baking spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. It has very barn-like qualities. There's straws and haze. Like a pile of hay sitting in a barn. In a farmhouse. That sort of a thing. There is a lot more of a concentration of aroma and flavor, and even when you go in for a sip, it's good. It's sweet, little nutty, it's mildly floral, and sure, you get the palate. But a bigger part of the experience of whiskey, especially for me, is the aromas. Is how there is so much more to explore to whiskey than just the taste, than just the flavor. Whereas this, as you're going in for a sip, you can inhale, and as if you're smelling, as you inhale through your nose, while you're slowly tilted back and go in for the sip, it allows what you're smelling and what you're tasting to unite, to combine, and then you are maximizing your olfactory senses. And it's a lot more of an experience. With that, it's a lot sweeter. It tastes a lot more fruity, and the fruitiness is kind of really very almost overripe apples and pears. Um, you get a lot more of the oak character. You get a lot more of the baking spice character. You get a lot more of the other things that are in the whiskey. All of the other things that are there. All of the other things that are present. You get a lot more of those in your sip with the Glencairn than you do with the rocks glass, because you have the concentration of aroma going into the sip as well. Whereas this, no concentration of aroma. It's just escaping out this big gaping hole in the top of the glass. Whereas this one is a nice, more defined, rounded. But your experience with the whiskey is going to be wildly different. It's going to be completely different with either glass. And then if you want to have even more exploration in your experience with your whiskey, then you can switch up the glass that you choose. This is technically a grappa glass, but it's excellent for nosing whiskey. I prefer this one for whiskeys like the Brené French single malt whiskey, and a lot of the fruitier ones, like maybe a Speyside Scotch. I don't think I've tried a bourbon in this. I don't think I've had a bourbon in this. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so just went and grabbed some bourbon, grabbed a bottle of Blade and Bow. Okay, we'll compare that to the Copita. And then I don't remember what exactly. I think it's a Glendale. Okay. Now that we have whiskey in all of our different glasses, if you want more of an exploratory experience with your whiskeys, then you can get different shaped glasses. So this glass is called a Copita. The Copita glass is also, it's probably this is my second favorite glass to nose with. It is also very popular in nosing sherries and ports. Very, very common in spirits and wine industry. Sort of like the Glencairn, it concentrates all of the aroma in the glass as it funnels to a narrower opening. I believe this is technically a grappa glass, but I like to use this one for fruity, as I said, for fruitier thing, because it seems to concentrate the fruit. Anything sweet really gets concentrated with this. So I'm going to compare the Blade and Bow with these two. Then with these two glasses is going to be 80 Rat Ray's release of Stronachy, which I will cover later and also learn how to pronounce it properly. As my point that I was sort of making before, you can explore the nosing of your whiskeys. You can explore all of that, the different sensory experiences that you get out of the different glasses, because the shapes, they all do different things to the flavor. They all do different things to the aromas of the whiskey, and I find it very incredibly fascinating. Okay, we've already gone over the nose of the Stronachy with the Glencairn. It's overripe apples and pears. It's straw and hay, bundles of hay, sitting in a dusty barn, farmhouse. It's very soft, pleasant. It's an inviting nose. And then with this glass, and then with the Glendale, the sweetness, the fruitiness is not nearly as prominent. It's mostly just the barn, the hay. Get a lot more of the hay in the Glendale than I do with the Glencairn, which is interesting. I mostly get just malt cereal. Mostly get the straw hay-like notes with the Glendale. Then the Glencairn, yeah. There's the fruit, there's the sweet, there's the light floral, caramels, vanillas. Get a lot more from the Glencairn than the Glendale. So there is an example, and even I have to go a lot deeper into the glass, and then the deeper you go, the more risk that the more risk you have, especially with if something is if it's a higher ABV spirit, to burn your nose, and then you're fucked for the whole entire rest of the time that you're trying to do your sensory analysis or your whiskey experience. That is interesting. Have a palate cleanser because I'm going to switch to the bourbon. Okay. Oh, the grappa glass. Oh, fucking. Oh, that's just cherry cinnamon hearts. Cherry cinnamon hearts. That's the sweet. The sweet and the cinnamon just skyrocket. Just those come forth. Those are very strong and bold characters from the whiskey that come out of the that come out of that. The copita is more bready, more kind of cornbread and corn husk, and smells more grainy. There's a tiny hint of candy apple in the bottom of the glass. The deeper I go, the more the candied apple comes out. But it's definitely a lot more bread, a lot more bready, a lot more baked good. Little tiny hint of cinnamon, but mostly the cornbread, corn husk, grain, little bit of rye spice. But it's really soft. Kind of like a wheated bourbon. The complete mash bill is not completely disclosed or 100% known. A lot of people say that it could be a 4-grain mash bill, where it could have corn, wheat, barley, and rye. A lot of people also say that it is a wheated bourbon, so corn, wheat, barley. But it's really hard to say. I do get a bit of rye spice with the copita, but there is a softness, but it's also soft like a wheated bourbon, soft kind of like Maker's Mark. Whereas that's just cherry cinnamon hearts. And with the grappa glass, you don't get like with these, and a little bit with the copita, you don't really get that being able to smell and being able to mix what's in your nose with what's in your palate. Can't really do that with the grappa glass, because when you take a sip, most of your nose is outside of the glass. So you kind of take your nose out of the equation when you are going in for a sip with the grappa glass. Yeah, a little bit of a taste experience with the Copita and the Grappa. I'm guessing it's because of the elimination of being able to smell what you are about to taste or smell as you're tasting it, being able to combine olfactory and max out your olfactory experience. So I'm guessing that taking the nose out of the equation with this is what disrupts that flavor. It is what disrupts that extra little that the whiskey might have, that your experience might be able to, that you might be able to get out of your experience. And then yeah, with this there's nothing. There's just alcohol with a hint of alcohol. It pretty much, it smells like nothing. Really, with the rocks glass, it really smells like nothing. Well, that was a fun little experiment, and now you know. Might as well put the. Oh, and then a glass like this, that's pretty much just for celebratory purposes. This big open top is going to have a similar effect as, well, there's actually liquid in this one, gotta be careful. There is similar effect to this one, as because it has that flared top, it is very open on the top, so that is not going to be a very good for nosing, for trying to get the same experience that you get out of these. You're not going to get that with this. This is purely celebratory purposes. This, I think, holds maybe, I think this little bottom part holds an ounce, so you just pour your shot into there. So thank you for joining me, and I hope that this was a helpful explanation and example of why your glass matters when you're having a whiskey experience. And if you're trying to have a different whiskey experience than you might normally, why you might reach for something like a Glencairn, a Glendale, a Grappa glass. This I found at a thrift store, so I don't actually know where you would find these. This was at a Salvation Army in Edmonton. Or a Copita. The Copita and the Glencairn I got off of whiskeyglass.ca. It is a wonderful website. I believe I have mentioned them before. But yeah, it's an absolutely wonderful website. You can get the caps, the glasses. They even have their own rocks glasses, decanters. You can get wee water jugs, pipettes for adding water, because for wanting to open up your whiskey. This I got off of Amazon. Don't remember how much it was. I think it was around $10. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Please remember to drink responsibly.